Hello everyone, welcome to my new devlog series, where I share my journey of making a survival roguelike game. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made the inventory system for my game and the new cast along with its newly decided name. In this video, we're going to talk about the inventory, as well as diving into how an inventory works and what it looks like to implement one. Before we begin, a warning, this video is pretty code intensive, but I promise to do my best to explain how the code works. Alright, so let's dive right into it. Let's start with the layout, as it's a simple starting point and does not require any code to begin with. For my game, I want the inventory to have a scroll-style look to it, and for the player to be able to roll it up whenever they want to access it. I also want to make sure the inventory does not take up the full screen, as this would cause the player to need to pause the game in order to access it, and I want it to be fully available for the player mid-round. I also need a place to put stats for my player, such as health, XP, and a mechanic called souls. With this all in mind, a scroll with 3 states turned out to be a great choice for my game. One state, where it's fully extended, allowing the player to see their stats and access the full inventory. A second half-extended state, where the scroll only shows the player's stats. And lastly, a closed state that shows the player nothing but allows the player to see more of the game. After the design was chosen, picking the number of slots was next. I ended up with 33, 24 for the inventory and 9 for the hotbar. Okay, so now the design was decided on, let's move to the functionality. So to start, when making an inventory, you need to store what's in each slot in an item list, which saves each item under a specific ID. We're going to use something called a dictionary for those. I'll explain it with a quick graphic and then we can move to the code. The simplest way to imagine a dictionary is to think of a row of boxes. Imagine each of those boxes has a number on them, although in reality this can be anything from a number to some letters, to anything really. A dictionary essentially allows you to open any of those boxes and get what's inside at any time. For example, say I wanted to see what was inside slot 1. I would open the box labeled 1 and see the item that's inside. Just a warning, this point onwards is mostly code and moves pretty fast, so if you're opposed to that, most of stuff after this point may bore you. Here I am creating a dictionary called item list, where I store each item under a unique ID. For example, ID -1 is empty slots, ID 0 for logs, ID 1 for sticks, and so on. Using this item list, we can create a dictionary that represents the inventory, which starts at 0 and goes to 32, with 32 being the last slot and 0 being the first. The best part of using a dictionary for this is they're exceedingly fast, pretty much instant, so once we have this added, we can utilize it in order to make a fully functional inventory. Okay, so here is a simple getID function that will get the ID of an item from its name. This will be used later on in a giveItemByName function. Another exceedingly important function is getSlotsByID. Its job is to get all the slots that have the item of some ID. This later on is going to be used in an addItems function and a removeItems function, keeping in mind that items have a stack limit, allowing the player to fill up the lowest slot first and then move to the other ones. Now, a getNewSlot function is useful because it allows you to get the next available slot. Now that we have gone through the basic helper functions, it's time for hard ones, add and remove items. The add function is far too long to show here, and the most I can do is show snippets and explain how it works. So the goal of an add items function is to add items, but it needs to fill any slots that have space prior to adding new slots. It does this by first getting all the slots that contain the item, then it goes through all the slots and sees if they have space for more items. If they do, it adds to them, and then moves on to other slots. If not, it adds to the next slot available. Okay, if you've made it this far, you've officially made it past all the code. I'm just adding this short part to talk to you about the game and some changes from the last episode. First, I have named the game. It's now called Confines. Second, the main character Housed and the rest of the cast has been chosen. If you've made it this far and enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I'm trying a new style for this video, and if it does well, I will continue with the more technical videos like this in the future. Either way, thanks for watching and goodbye.